You're listening to the Bleav in Giants podcast with two-time Super Bowl winner Carl Banks and the voice of the Giants, Bob Papa.
The Bleav in Giants presented by FanDuel. Bob Papa, two-time Super Bowl champion Carl Banks, as the Giants fall to the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. And a game of what-ifs, Carl. You look at the opportunities that the Giants had in this game to make plays on the defensive side of the ball. They made some plays, but they didn't make game-changing plays. And you signed Paulson Adebo to get an interception that could have thwarted points for Kansas City. There was a ball on the ground. I mean, listen, this game is frustrating on a lot of levels because there were things that happened in this game that you said, you got chances. But in the end, they don't make enough plays that turn games in their favor. Last week, it was the defense. They couldn't get a stop, 25 seconds to go. This week, it was a slog-it-out kind of game. That's the way Kansas City wants to play. And, the Giants just would let go of the rope at the worst possible times.
Yeah, it pretty much sums it up, Bob. It's if you're a stat junkie and you look at the stat sheet, you're going to see two things that jump out at you. And at the end of the day, that will be the storyline, however it's broken down. It is turnovers and third down. Everything else, they played relatively even, right? Time of possession, rush yards. They actually outrushed Kansas City. Passing yards, I think Kansas City had just barely over 200. But when it really came down to it, is the Giants could not figure out or scheme something to get their wide receivers open. I talked about it on our broadcast. Plays that were working, the slant was working, and the three verts up the seam, the one that they hit Wandell with. Other than that, it was just like, okay, they could run the ball, but they couldn't pass it. They could not do anything on third down. And that's basically the story of the game. And, defensively, they got to figure out how to get the quarterback on the ground, but it's Mahomes. So I get that. But then when Mahomes gives you it's literally 4 opportunities in one game for legitimate turnovers. Paulson Adebo hands on to Tyler Nubin. One goes through his hands. And then on a backwards pass that literally could have turned the game, Dane Belton tried to scoop and score, missed it. Bobby Okereke scooped and then had a scoop taken away from him by Patrick Mahomes. That can't happen. Not in this type of game. And so there were a lot of things that you can look at. End of the day, and I've said this, it is what you see until it gets better. So the components, the improvements in certain areas, you see that it's just not enough to win ball games. And so when we talk, it was basically when I talk about this team, I'm going to try to give full context. It was on the post-game show with Sean and Madeline. And, Sean made the point of, he says this team could easily be 2-1. They could be. And then he said they were a good team. I'm not going to speak for him, but I know he wasn't talking in the context of, they're so good that they can get it together. We went on, if you listen to the show, we went on to talk about all the things why they are 0-3. But if you can say they could be 2-1 and here are the reasons why, it's okay. It's okay. But, and I took issue with Bobby Skinner because he put something, he took part of a clip and said, John Mara, stop making my childhood heroes do this shit. And I was like, let's not do that, right? I respect his platform too much for that to be a cheap rage baiter. Just post it all if you're going to post it, and you can like it or not like it. Nobody has a gun to our head. We're giving observations based on freaking 40 years of freaking experience, game planning, and playing. So if he's giving you a point of view that he's sharing as basically from a player perspective, because Brian Burns said the same thing. That's what he's giving. But if he left it there full stop, then you should have a problem with it. But he went on to talk about every reason why they are not 2-1. I went on and gave you every reason why they're not 2-1. And, Bobby, I get it, but there are a lot of people who will not. They will look at your clip and it becomes, that's it. You saw the whole clip, so you know what it is. And look, I'm not here to beef with anybody. People can do whatever the hell they want. But I don't delete anything for a reason. So once this group of people starts coming with this nonsense, all I'm going to say is just go look at the whole thing. Listen to our broadcast.
Let's revisit the first clip that has you a little bit annoyed.
Okay.
Lindsay? Yeah.
Look, the Giants right now could very well be 2-1. So this is not a bad team. So for those of you that are walking out of the stadium right now, or you're watching this game at home, like this, and when you start off with saying, "Here we go again," no, this is a different team. Like this team is better,
and it's hard.
They're just not finding ways to win.
Right.
They're finding ways to give the game to the other team.
Right. So that's the clip that you're taking issue with. Who is it again? One of these content guys?
It's Bobby Skinner.
Right. Okay? He's a fan. He's a fan, right?
He's a fan. Listen, I don't even want to get into. Yes, he is a fan.
Yes, he's a fan. Does let me ask you this: does he go in the locker room at any point during the week or after a game and sit and talk with players? Is he at the coaches' press conferences each and every week? Does he have relationships with any of the coaches and players outside of being a fan?
I don't think so.
Okay. So he's a content creator. He's a Giant fan who's very passionate about his team, and every Giant fan has every right to be angry. They've lost 9 of their last 10 home games. It feels like whenever they play against teams that are pretty good, they find ways to lose games. They found a way to lose a game against a bad team. So every Giant fan feels the same anger that I'm feeling right now, that it's like, hey, when are you going to make a play? When are you going to do something in a game that makes a difference to win, instead of us always talking about, we could have done this, they didn't do this, they fell short here, it was this play here, it was this play there. So every Giant fan, the Bobby Skinners of the world, and they're fans. Let's put this in perspective. He's a fan who's a content creator, who's passionate about it, who thinks about things, but he's got you pissed off because they posted that clip and now they're saying you and Sean are just Mara mouthpieces.
Yeah, and again, you can do whatever you want, but if you're going to post it, post all of it. And if you think it's bullshit, it's bullshit. Call it what it is. But I'm going to say what I have to say, and I don't delete it. So there was more to it, and I talked about there are levels you have to get to when you try to beat. You have to beat a team like Kansas City, and that they're not there. And then I talked about you can look inside if you're looking from that lens, and you can see what has to get better, what has gotten better. And that was the context of what I talked about in relationship to Sean. But I only got that. And I have an issue when you clip part of what I say for whatever your purpose was and not the rest of it. Because if you wanna play this, he's a mouthpiece for Mara thing, then give the whole piece, right? Take every piece of it. And then anybody can make their own judgments. But one thing I don't do, I don't delete, and I won't bite my tongue, and I don't get narratives, I don't get scripts from the team. I speak it the way I see it, the way I lived it, right? So do what you want, say what you want. Just don't edit my shit as if the rest of it didn't exist. All right. Now, whenever I say what I said, if you're not complex enough to think or to think about what I said or hear what I said, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. But if I can sit on that very same show and say that the offense could not figure out how to scheme their wide receivers open, and I say it in this tone, and Lawrence Tynes motherfucks the team, y'all feel better about him saying it, but we're both saying the same thing. We're both saying that the offense, there's no way they should not be able to figure out a two shell and get their best players open. I said it all during the broadcast, and I said it on that very same show, right? So this ain't sugarcoating anything. You don't like my delivery? You want to be screamed at by somebody? Then fucking watch them. But what I'm saying, I'm going to say, and I am no happier about this team where they are now than anybody. It's frustrating to watch opportunities go, to watch your best players not be your best players when you need them to be, right? And there, again, somebody comes on and says, oh, I hate the defense. Shane Bourne's got to go. If you don't think the defense got better from last week to this week, then you didn't watch the game. Oh, well, they need to use Abdul Carter. He was taken out of the game on third downs. When? He started the game. He played most of the game. What are you talking about? So, all of this gratuitous piling on, everybody's frustrated. I am too, but I'm going to see it, and I'm going to call it like I see it.
Well, I mean, listen, again, I understand the fans' anguish here because they're frustrated as hell with what they're watching, okay? And that's why last week hurts even more now because you were in your weight class last week. They're a bad team. You got to win that game. But if you want to look at this realistically, the Washington Commanders made it to the NFC Championship game last year. They have a good defense that can cause problems for. They don't have a ton of household names, but collectively they played good enough to get to the conference championship game last year. So let's give them some credit. And the Chiefs have been to 3 straight Super Bowls. Okay, so they lost to the Eagles in the Super Bowl. I got it, but they won the previous 2 Super Bowls. They went to 3 in a row. Most franchises dream about going to 3 Super Bowls in their franchise history, let alone 3 in a row. Spags is a great defensive coordinator. The bottom line is there's something wrong fundamentally offensively, Carl, when the 2 teams that made it to the conference championship games last year and one of them went to the Super Bowl, you scored a collective 15 points against in 2 games with 1 touchdown and red zone failures in both of those games. You didn't care about any of the red zone failures last week, because it was bombs away against an awful defense with terrible safeties and a bad defensive coordinator. Okay, now you're going against Spags and Karlaftis and Jones, McDuffie. Nick Bolton is a perfect play. Nick Bolton's Antonio Pierce for the Kansas City Chiefs. Antonio Pierce was an undrafted free agent. He was a good player. He came to the Giants, and under Spags, he became a Giants legend. But it's not like he was Ray Lewis, with this Hall of Fame career. Spags knows how to take guys and make them better within the framework of their scheme. They scored 15 points in 2 games against good defenses. And every Giant fan out there is livid because it's like, here we go again. Now, again, this is not to defend Shane Bowen, okay? This is not, mouthpiece, you defend the coach. But you're right, this was a field goal game for the most part. Mahomes is going to make plays. Like, he does it against everybody. Ask the Buffalo fans, ask the Baltimore fans. What he did last night is what he does. He avoids pressure. He extends plays. We knew all that coming in. But at the end of the day, Paulson Adebo has to make that interception on the ball over the middle in the second quarter. I've been doing the play-by-play since 95. I started in the pre- and post-game show since you were a player. Bill Parcells was the head coach. Been around a long time. Been to a lot of games, called a lot of games nationally, on TV, and on radio, NFL games. I've never seen a game in which there were two backward passes in the same game, let alone by one quarterback. And Patrick Mahomes, so now it's like game awareness players. The first one he threw, Pacheco kind of just got the ball, then he kind of threw it down. Where's a giant play? What are defensive players, Carl, taught constantly? If you see a ball on the ground, pick it up and wait for a whistle.
That's right. Let the officials decide it. Let the officials decide it. Do not let the ball lay on the ground.
So you know who was aware? The future Hall of Famer. Because when Pacheco had the ball thrown at him and in disgust, he kind of just doesn't do anything with it. Do you know who went in there and actually picked the ball up? Mahomes.
Yeah.
And then on the second one, Bobby Okereke goes for a scoop and score after Belton couldn't recover it. Bobby Okereke has it in his hands. You know who didn't give up on the play? Mahomes. He took it out of Okereke's hands. I mean, awareness and then making play. You were in position to make a cut. How did we get to the backward passes? You got really good pressure on Patrick Mahomes to force him into making junior high school mistakes by throwing the ball backwards twice. Yet you didn't capitalize. You can't win games when you have opportunities and you don't make the plays. Now, Paulson Adebo was brought in because in his 4 years with the Saints, he's had 10 interceptions. He had 3 last year, playing only, 7 or 8 games, and then he suffered the broken femur. So he's known for a guy who can turn the ball over. Well, you paid him money to make that interception, to flip the script in the game. You have Bobby Okereke. Hey, man, like, that's not scheme. That's guys not paying attention to, like, details of when you're on defense, always pick the ball up and start running with it and let the officials.
Job requirements. It's a prerequisite of the job as a defensive player, right? See ball, get ball. You got to make those plays. When I said it's levels to it, you're basically playing a top-level team where, they're going to get some plays on you because they're better than you at that level, right? But if you can figure out enough plays and enough opportunities, then you can get yourself in a position to win or steal a game, right? So defensively, you're holding them to threes. That's a win for you defensively. Offensively, you can't get anything done, but you're still within a 3-point game because of the defense. And then all of a sudden, the opportunity arises right before the half. You get pressure. Mahomes panics, throws the ball behind him. It's a scoop and score, or it's just fall on the ball and you're at the, what was that, like the 15-yard line?
Yeah.
You're going to score. There's going to get some points out of that. Now you go into halftime tied. And so that is the difference. Okay, folks, and let me say, good teams and bad teams. Yes, your record is what it says it is, right? But you have an opportunity to beat a great team by doing your own good things. You didn't do enough of them, right? But when you look in the locker room and you hear what Brian Burns, he still believes they're a good team. But it's not enough when you have these types of opportunities. And at some point, when you have the ability, it's as parents say, I guess you don't feel the skillet is hot. You don't believe the skillet is hot till you touch it. Right? They keep touching the skillet without a mitt, right? Go do the right things and you'll win these games. Yes, you just played top-level competition, 2 of the 3 games, right? 2 of those 3, you're looking eye to eye. User error. is what prevented you from winning the game. Now, you can look at this last game and say, well, the offense couldn't get anything done. Well, they ran the ball, but if you make those plays defensively, I got to believe they would have found enough offense to get the ball in to at least tie that game, right? So I don't know what the outcome would have been. I know what the outcome is. And they're not making the plays that are there to be made. Are there some things getting better? Sure. But like I said in that clip, the fans see what they see the final score. And that's all that matters to them. They want wins. And I think we all want wins. It's just that simple. They are not doing it well enough things to win football games. Offensively, the passing game was putrid, and it's the NFL, right? I came into this game saying, hey, look, Spags is going to blitz, but he just can't be blitz happy because they got receivers to worry about. Well, he didn't blitz as much because they paid a lot of attention to Malik Neighbors. That left a lighter box. They ran it. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to the interception near the end of the half. Like, I think Tiki described it on the postgame show already. It goes like, if they're in a man look, or even if it's a cloud cover, like, and you see Malik Neighbors, you got to give him a chance. Russell Wilson, he looked left, then he threw to his right. Tiki was like, listen, if you're going to give your guy a chance in man or in that, they only played man, I think, 4 snaps according to Next Gen stats, or 6 snaps in the entire game, some low number. But you got kind of a look you want, and you want your guy to go make a play. He threw the ball 10 yards too late. Like, the ball had to go when Malik Neighbors was at about the 7 or 8 yard line, and they were tied. And where the ball was intercepted was supposed to be where Malik Neighbors,
the jump ball occurred.
Yeah, where Malik Neighbors was getting to when the ball landed at that point. Malik was already to the back corner of the end zone. Like, Russell, I don't know if he didn't want to throw it, if Russell was gun shy or jittery in this game and not seeing things. But, like, if you're going to run that play, you got to go when it's tied and let Malik run under it, or Malik jump ball for it. You can't. He threw it so late, and everyone's like, "Oh," I saw somebody say, "I mean, Malik made no effort." No, all of his momentum is going in that direction. He's expecting the ball to come out earlier. Like, no, that was a bad throw by Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson had Theo Johnson posted up at the pylon, and for some reason he threw it out of the corner of the end zone for intentional grounding. Like, just throw it to him. He's got a small guy boxed out. Maybe he catches it and he scores. I don't know. Like, it just looked absolutely disjointed against Kansas City.
Offensively, I don't think Russell made great choices with the football. Aside from schematically, I just don't think they had a plan to adjust in game. I mean, you saw what they played the whole game. They did not have anything. You had 2 plays that you should have been coming back to, right? You had Slayton almost took a slant. He gets tripped up. It was still there because all the attention's going to Neighbors. So you go against, because they had their best guy traveling with Neighbors. Run those slants. Put Wandell on a slant. You get 3 verticals, 1 up the seam. They hit a big play on it. Never came back to it. So
they try to throw a slant on the opening drive of the game when they had to go for it on 4th down because Gano couldn't kick.
Mm-hmm.
And it got batted at the line of scrimmage. I mean, there was a slant. It was 4th and 3. They were throwing the slant, and it wasn't to Neighbors. But it got batted down. Like, I don't know. Hey, Carl, I just go ahead.
Go ahead. No, no, go ahead.
No, I wanted to give a shout out to our friends at ZipRecruiter right now. Finding great candidates to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Too many resumes, not enough candidates with the right skills or experience. Not with ZipRecruiter. They can find amazing candidates for you. And more importantly, they do it fast. You could try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/audio, AUDIO. ZipRecruiter has smart technology. It identifies top talent for your roles quickly. Immediately after you post your job, you know what ZipRecruiter is going to do? That powerful matching technology starts showing you qualified people immediately. ZipRecruiter lets you connect top candidates ASAP. You can use it. They have a pre-written invite to apply message to personally reach out to your favorite candidates and urge them to apply sooner. So, ditch the other hiring sites. Let ZipRecruiter find what you're looking for, the needle in that haystack. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try it for free. Now, you only get it for free with this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/audio, AUDIO. That's ZipRecruiter.com/audio. ZipRecruiter is the smartest way to hire. So, Carl, Giant fans last night were hoping that there was a little ZipRecruiter to figure out something offensively to unlock this Kansas City defense, but it just never manifested itself over the course of the game.
No, I don't think your quarterback played well enough. I thought the offensive line, for the most part, did some good things. The quarterback moved. He was a little impatient in the pocket. Yeah, you're playing against a really good defense, so you're going to give up some sacks, but he wasn't. I don't want to say he was under siege the entire game. There were opportunities to make plays. They blocked it up pretty good on a majority of situations. So you've got to steady yourself and be able to make plays, and you also got to call plays that that are going to be coverage beaters. Concepts that are going to be coverage beaters. And it just did not. The offense went back to looking hard again. It just started to look difficult, and it's almost like, okay, let's try this. Well, look at get the feedback. And I know Coach Dable said there were a lot of discussions on the sidelines, but there were 2 plays that worked. I would go to those and I would trust those to see if they could stop them. I thought that once they started to crease a few runs and they did well run blocking, that there would be some play action, but it's the wrong type of play action. The boots and things of that nature, not quite, but there was a couple. Cam Scatterboo got some, really positive yards on play action. They looked deep and dumped it down to him. Theo Johnson also caught, I think 2 in the, as kind of check down guys too. So they kept the ball moving there, but when it was time to make plays, they just could not figure out how to beat the 2-shell defense. And it's not an odd concept. It's a, not exotic scheme.
Here's the other thing that I just want to, everyone's got to be careful of this, because we really don't know the answer. Did Russell Wilson call his own number on the quarterback draw? Did he see something that he thought would work? Because I see people like, why would you call a quarterback draw with a 38-year-old quarterback who doesn't have the wheels that he had? Well, if you see a look, it could be there, right? But so we don't know. Did he audibilize? Did he see something? I don't know. Nobody knows. None of the content creators know. Brian Baldinger doesn't know with his Baldy breakdowns. Bob Papa, Carl Banks don't know. Like, what was the actual call, and then what happened on the play, because the play was very unsuccessful. And then you had the RPO and the read option, and didn't give it to Scatterboo, and there was a defender sitting there waiting for Russell Wilson. So there's something, if that was called, right, and Russell decided to go with that or check to that or whatever it was, there was some tell because Kansas City was standing there waiting for that play to happen. But I always like to pump the brakes on what were they thinking with those calls, because you have no idea. Usually 2 plays come in based on a look, and Russell Wilson has some freedom within the offense to make real-time decisions based on, you see him going alert, alert, and all that other stuff. We don't know what it was. So I hesitate to just throw people under the bus without having facts, because you're just guessing. But whatever happened, whatever the call was, whatever the quarterback's decision making was, clearly it was incorrect. It was flawed. I just don't know where to assign the blame.
It goes to all of them. They're all in it together. They all share the same loss, Bob. They got to be better. They've got to figure out offensively. Again, they went up in weight class 2 of the 3 games, and it showed. Now, San Diego is almost at that same level, not quite. So it doesn't get any easier. They're cruiserweight instead of light heavyweight is what.
Well, I would make the case, Carl, based on their history, but based on what they've done through the 2025 version of the Chargers, at least. I mean, they're 3-0 and 3-0 in their division, including a resounding beating of the Kansas City Chiefs in Brazil in Week 1. I would say that this is a step up in weight.
Oh, it is a step up in weight for sure. And they're trying to establish themselves as that, champion in waiting, if you will, if we're using boxing metaphors. But it's a new opportunity. Look, I think the defense can't step back. They've got to step up. They've got to make the plays that are there for them to make. This is a different challenge. This is a different style quarterback, but uniquely gifted. So be ready, because he can drive the ball down the field. He's a big, strong guy. No, he's not as elusive, but you better be, your defensive backfield better be disciplined, and you better make good tackles. Tyler Nubin missed 1. And I want to clarify something when it relates to Tyler Nubin. He's not an unwilling tackler. He's a bad tackler because he takes bad angles. He's a good, big, physical kid. He wants to go up in there and make plays. He missed 1 yesterday, so it's not, and he made more than he missed, obviously, but he missed 1, and it's just the angle. So I don't want, I don't think anybody should think he's an awful player or he's trash. He's not. He's a willing tackler. He's just, he takes bad angles, and, he's got to get that cleaned up. And he did. After 1 missed tackle, he did. He, did his job. But he let one go through his hands that can make a difference in a game against really good teams. They make a difference. That's why when there were balls up for grabs that the Giants threw, Kansas City came up with those. When there are opportunities for you to make plays against your opponent defensively, you got to come up with those plays.
Yeah, I mean, again, in all the years, Carl, you played in the NFL for a long time at a very high level. Have you ever been in a game where a quarterback has thrown 2 backward passes?
No.
Never seen it.
And the first one should have been a teachable moment on the sidelines. Hey, if this happens again, get on the ball, secure it, let the referees decide it. Because the referees didn't really know what it was either until Coach Dable challenged it. And I saw it. I'm like, that's a backwards pass. And they were ready to spot the ball, and the coach challenged it. And, it sure was a backwards pass, which was basically a fumble. But that was a result of them getting relentless pressure on Mahomes, and he just couldn't go forward with it, so he just threw it backwards.
Well, I've never seen it twice in one game, let alone by the same quarterback. Yet the Giants did not create a turnover on either one of them. So, like, that's impossible. Like, you have to, in that situation, recover one of those, right? If you want to win these games. Carl, I want to address something here because, again, misinformation. The Graham Gano situation. I'm seeing all this stuff out there about, kicker being hurt and all these comments from fans, again, who are irate. And I don't correctly, fans are unbelievably angry, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've lost 9 of your last 10 home games. You're 0-3 for all the appropriate reasons. But you and I are in the building. I was in the cafeteria when the players were coming in for their pregame meal, watching the wild ends of these 1:00 games. Graham Gano was there. He wasn't hurt. You don't carry 2 active kickers. No team carries 2 active kickers. He got hurt kicking the ball into the net during introductions. When they were introducing the defense, he's off on the side getting ready, and he got hurt. Now, it's a bigger issue. This is 3 years in a row. 2 years in a row he's gotten hurt in a game, or in this case, before the game. And, at 38 years of age, it keeps popping up. Now, what happened 3 years ago, or 2 years ago, when he got hurt on the opening kickoff against Dallas, he was not the same, and I don't think he ever expressed to them how hurt he was. And then he missed that kick against the Jets, and he went on IR, and it got traced all the way back to the knee injury that happened on opening day against the Cowboys, on the blocked field goal
at Washington
for a touchdown. Well, last year, but he got hurt. But he got hurt in Washington on an opening. Yeah, he suffered a hamstring injury. It wasn't a groin or anything else. It wasn't his knee. And, this whole scenario of, how do you go into the game when your kicker's hurt? Folks, he wasn't hurt. He's been perfect at practice. He was perfect in the preseason. He's been perfect this season when kicking the ball. It has not been an issue. It's like a bad case of telephone. It's like somebody puts it out there that he was hurt going into the game. Why would you go into the game when your kicker's hurt? That's just not true. He got hurt in warm-ups.
Yeah.
Literally, you have to deactivate players. You have to deactivate players 90 minutes before kickoff. If you get hurt during the introductions, you're screwed.
Right. If he were hurt prior to this game, they would have re-signed the kicker. They're not going to go in with a kicker that's injured. If he's injured, they're going to sign somebody else and get that guy ready to go.
Well, the guy from the practice squad, Autonomy, would have been elevated to the main roster.
Correct. So, folks, that's it.
I'm feeling very generous today, Carl, because we gave away a free access to ZipRecruiter. Well, I also have another thing that I want to at least try to make things better for our fans here, because to me makes it quick and easy to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common, to make everyone vulnerable.
Delete me.
Listen, your privacy is very important. Listen, you got all these data brokers out there, and they're selling your data. And it's a commodity. Anyone on the web can buy your private details, identity theft, phishing attempts, harassment, your name, contact info, social security, home address, even information about family members. It could all be compiled by data brokers, and then they sell it. It's a business. New York Times Wirecutter has named Delete Me their top pick for data removal services. As someone with an active online presence like you and I, privacy is very important. You can be a victim of identity theft, doxing. So listen, Delete Me is going to help you. Take control of your data. Keep your private life private. Sign up for Delete Me now at a special discount. For our listeners only, 20% off Delete Me plan by texting the word PRO, P-R-O, to 6400. The only way to get 20% off is to text PRO, 6400. That's PRO, 6400. Message and data rates may apply. So go check out Delete Me. Carl, were you surprised? I had one more question for you. Were you surprised that with the offense kind of bogged down and Russell Wilson looked very jittery at times back there? There was a couple times he got pressure up front. You know he could not see. He just kind of threw a ball to a spot hoping. Were you surprised that when they needed to get something going, especially, down in this game, that they didn't let Jackson Dart run a series or two to try to at least create some juice or create some energy with the team? Because it felt, other than scatterboo runs, everything else felt very dour and bogged down.
Yeah, I think I am yes and I'm not surprised. I think strategically they did not, even I think in the preseason, if you're looking at who they're playing and it's the third game of a young quarterback's career, you think he's going to survive all the different looks that Spagnuolo, even if you're prepping him, if he was playing Kansas City in the Spagnuolo defense 3 weeks from now, he would probably be better prepared. But I think the packages that they had for him, they could have continued to implement during the course of the game. Yes. Whether or not it was time for him to be the starter, I don't think. But
I just thought maybe
packages.
Throwing him
Yes,
in
I
there
thought
for a
Spark.
series.
I think the Spark. Yes, I think put him in there, put him in there again until you can get something going. It just, you ran the ball well. You were just okay passing it, and you didn't make enough plays where Kansas City was just okay passing, and they made enough plays. And you had opportunities to deny a few of those, and you did not. So, difference between Super Bowl caliber team and bad teams, right? Bad teams are what you see, folks, internally. There are aspects of that team that don't feel that they're that bad. I understand where that is, but I'm not going to convince you until they prove to you in a win-loss column. It is what you see. Simple.
Can I know I want to bring something else up to you.
Don't chop my shit. Use it fully. I'll own every word of it. You don't need to score points off of bits and pieces. I'll tell you everything, how I'm feeling, and if you don't like it, delete me.
No, we don't want to delete you. We want to use Delete Me and that 20% off, but just for personal data security. Carl, there was a lot of talk after the game. I know Dexter Lawrence was asked about his snap count, whatever. They're trying to rotate people to keep people fresh. Do you have an issue with any of this, or is this just when the team's losing and losing games and frustrating that? Look,
man, listen.
We saw Dexter wear down last year during games, and every time he came out of a game, the Giants got absolutely raked.
Bob, this is not Madden. This is not TV. Guys don't play and never get tired. You're playing, if you're an interior lineman and you're getting double teamed a lot. Hey, did Chris Jones come out of the game? Yes, he was a rotation guy too. That is, you can train, but if you've got guys double teaming you and you got a lot of defensive plays you're logging, you'd rather be fresh than not. So I'm not surprised by it. The fact that people are making an issue of the rotation, especially now. The early game, he was kind of on the snap count. Now it's just part of their rotation. You have to do that. It becomes diminishing returns. Tell a player to go out and play 60 plays as a interior lineman and see where your returns, they diminish. They are not as fresh. They cannot make the plays that they're supposed to make. So, yes, the rotation is necessary with your big guys up front. It is. I don't know. He played 70% of the plays, 75, maybe 80. So
no,
it wasn't
according to the press box stats, it wasn't that high.
What was it, 65?
I think it was. I think it was like 60% of the plays or something.
Okay. There you have it.
I have to
no
look
problem
at
with
it. I don't have the exact numbers right in front of me, but listen, fans have a right to be really angry. I don't blame you, especially if you're going to the stadium and they've now lost 9 of their last 10 home games.
Mm-hmm.
You have every right to be upset, but I guess the bottom line here, and this is for the content creator people out there, like if you're going to quote Carl and you want to take Carl on, take on the whole statement, not cherry pick it, because that ain't right.
Yeah. I'm here, man. Listen, I'm a big supporter of all of these kids. And look, I don't care if you don't like what I say. You're entitled to that. You're entitled. You can have your opinion. I'm going to respect that, but don't chop my shit to score points. Like, just put it all out there. And if you still think it's bullshit, I'm good with that because you're entitled to that. But it's not cool. It's not cool. And for someone like you, Bobby, you don't need to do that. You don't. Like, great platform. And I just commented the other day how excited I am to watch it grow. But this ain't it. This ain't it. Right. And so you don't like it, don't like what I said, it's cool. Just use all of it. I don't delete anything. So nor should you if you're using my stuff. Just put it out there. And you can add whatever commentary you want on it, but just give it all. Give it all. People are complex thinkers. A lot of them. There are some simpletons that only want the short bites, but give it all. And if you think it's bullshit, great. Next piece of it, I'm not a mouthpiece for anybody. I speak for myself. And if I have an opinion, it's formed based off of my lived experience, my played experience, and my knowledge of this game. So I don't get a script from the team, and the team don't tell me what to say. All right. As my dad would say, let my conscience be my guide. I'm not gonna scream. I'm not gonna, Lawrence Tynes had a different take. We said the same thing. People were like, why don't you talk like Lawrence? Because I'm not fucking Lawrence Tynes. I'm Carl. Right? If you can't understand simple, plain language and you want to be screamed at, then go subscribe to that. Right? I'm going to give you my position on it. I don't have a problem with any former player, professional, whatever their takes are, they are their takes. I'm going to give you mine. I'm going to give you the reasons why I say it, like it or not. But these personal attacks, not you, Bobby, but some of these other kids out here that want to play that personal attack game, I could hurt your feelings. Right? And I'm not, but I could hurt your feelings. Keep going. Keep going. That's not what we do this for, though. I want to give you information. You can like it or not. Don't start the name calling.
We're trying to give you a thoughtful, insightful sort of analysis of this based on, being voted to the Pro Football Hall of Fame All-Decade Team of the 80s and a 2-time Super Bowl champion who played the game at a high level that understands it. We're trying to give you an intelligent as to why things are happening. And if you want the screaming and fire everybody and this one's garbage and they don't know what they're doing, then, again, the show is probably not for you. But we're trying to bring some insight because the bottom line is that you and I are in the building constantly. We have access to information, and we're trying to share that as to the whys and the hows and create some rhyme or reason. Doesn't excuse bad decision making, doesn't excuse bad play. It doesn't excuse any of that. That's out there for all to see. But we're trying to figure out a way that how it can get better and also create some insight into why maybe you can have a little bit more hope than we're going 0-17 kind of mentality. But it's getting listen, it's gotten late. It's gotten late early, and that's the fact.
Still
we're
early.
0-3.
Yeah, and it's still early, so we'll see. If they're running the marathon, then you'll see some improvement. If not, then this is going to be what it is. Again, I'm not telling anybody not to feel the way that they feel. I've never said that. I've only given my opinion. You get upset when I have an opinion that's different than yours. That's cool. That's cool. Let's not name call though. And we'll respect each other's opinions. I'm going to give you my football educated take on things that I know. And you can decide to do with it what you will.
We want to thank everybody at FanDuel for their support as we bring you editions of Bleav in Giants. We'll be back later in the week to provide a preview for the Week 4 matchup against the Los Angeles Chargers. Carl, how do we like to end the show?
Tell a friend to tell a friend. Bleav in Giants.
Bleav in Giants.